warning that, okay, you know, we gave up the Lissandra to prioritize Rekkles and Hilly's lane, and Ivern ban comes out, maybe Fnatic are using that in scrims, so it tells me that Fnatic's game plan is still all about this bot.
I mean, it makes a lot of sense because on Rakan you want to rush the Zeke's convergence, so you can't go for the straight up Ardent Sensor or for the Redemption. Being able to buff up the Xayah is always strong. There's the Aatrox, could see that towards Exile, could see it towards Expect, or even Caedrel in the jungle.
Just the power that they prioritized the Sylas, picked it very early on, so we still have so much flex potential. I mean, like you're saying, this is still a potential of triple flex. That could be Sylas jungle, that could be Aatrox jungle, that could be Aatrox mid, top. Exile haven't revealed any of their hand and empowering themselves for that last pick on red side. Yes, Broxah.
Yeah, I like the Lee Sin. I like it. He's played it once already this split, had a relatively good performance on it. And now you're looking towards the mid lane, something with a little bit of teamfight presence possibly, but...
He's got LeBlanc available to him, he has Syndra available to him. Looks like it's going to be the stat check.
The stat check.
Syndra's just one of those champions where her damage is so high, she's just like, I'm in the mid lane, I have the R on you, I press you, and I stat check you. Can you survive
Let us check your magic resist versus my damage. Which one wins today?
If yes, win game.
Well, Nemesis has traditionally been a Syndra player, if I recall correctly, on Mad Lions. He's played it once already this split as well, in their only win up against Rogue last week. There's the LeBlanc for Exile, though, so he's taking that skill matchup in the mid lane, going all in aggressive, and Caedrel will be taking the Aatrox into the jungle.
And this is what we wanted to see. We know that Max Lora's played the Aatrox into the jungle position. Sylas, again, going towards that top side. We'll check in on the Keystone, if it's going to be the SOAS common, if it's going to be the more common Grasp, or even possibly an Aftershock.
And we saw this exact matchup in the last game, and Prophet really wasn't able to do anything on the Sylas. Like, the Urgot ran him down at level 6, got the kill, and then Prophet had no impact for the rest of the game.
So I want to kind of revisit some of the questions that we set up for Fnatic. What did I want to see them do? I wanted Broxah to take responsibility and agency, early game jungler like a Lee Sin, and I want Nemesis to have hard CC and burst damage. One of the cool things about the Lee Sin Syndra combo is at level 6, basically no one does more damage than you do in your burst. Your ability to pick up Syndra and just walk into the jungle and take whatever you want is exceptionally high if you don't fumble your 1 through 5.
I have to look at that level 6 for Fnatic, whether we'll see Broxah playing around the mid lane once again, and whether they can match up into Caedrel and Exile, who have so consistently played through mid on this Exile roster. A lot of questions for me in terms of how Fnatic are going to play out this draft, but I want to just take a bigger picture look at both the compositions. What are they trying to do, and how are they going to win this game for us?
I mean, for me, Fnatic's early game, levels 1 through 6, really rely on Broxah and Nemesis. Post level 6, it's then how do they transfer that big power window into the jungle, and how does it bleed down into Xayah and Rakan, who have such a strong ability to get priority through pushing due to the steroids. On the other side, Exile, it's all about the top side of the map. You have Sylas, Aatrox, and LeBlanc. Sylas has shown that he needs a lot of attention and a lot of love to get going, and I hope that Caedrel is ready to give that to Expect.
We have seen Bwipo overextend in the last few weeks, give up some early kills. Will he do it again today? Will Exile be able to find their opportunity to strike in the top lane? Because once again, we jump onto the Summoner's Rift. It's game 4 of the day. Fnatic and Exile both looking for what would be a pretty monumental win in terms of their first half of the split.
I mean, forget the context, forget the asterisks. If Exile can stamp on the resume that they take down Fnatic, it's going to feel good either way. Versus Fnatic, it kind of feels like there's lose-lose situation. You know, unless they absolutely crush Exile, no one's going to give them the benefit of the doubt.
So you might hear the Let's Go Exile chants. I want to say that there are Exile fans in the audience, but I can also see them as the owners of Exile who are chanting for Exile right now. Fnatic chants coming out from the other side as well. But just speaking about Kieran from Exile, in week 1 or in week 2, when he was interviewed, he said about Fnatic.
He's going nuts, Fnatic.
He said about Fnatic, it would be quite nice to put the nail in the coffin for Fnatic. And Exile have been the underdogs since then in the last few weeks, but you have to think if they do take down Fnatic, it's a pretty nice thing to add to your resume.
And it's just easy to get behind Exile because they are an exciting and fun team to watch. I hate when you know, you have more bottom tier teams that just play really slow, boring League of Legends. I'm like, if you're gonna burn quickly.
Yeah.
Live fast, die young.
It's not a strategy I implored as a doctor, but I can see how it might work for some people. Bwipo actually looking for the level 1 here. Catching out Caedrel on those Razor Beats. We'll try and steal it away with a Q. Doesn't get any of them. Caedrel gets 2, Bwipo gets a couple with a shotgun knee, but doesn't get the big one. So does delay Caedrel just ever so slightly, but loses out some lane pressure because of it.
I mean, but if you're going to delay the key member for Exile, that's always going to feel pretty good, especially in the Urgot versus Sylas matchup. We've seen this, I think, a couple of times today, and Sylas really just struggles when he is against a ranged opponent. Urgot, one of those strong champions in the top lane, because he can abuse his range.
Expect trading in there, but you can see like shotgun knee is always going to keep Expect relatively chunked out. Has gone for the Grasp of the Undying keystone on the Sylas, so what we expect. We talked about whether Aftershock could have been an option, but getting the extra healing off the Grasp makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, this is the fairly standard one. Now, Sylas really can't take over and push unless he can get his passive going for him. He can have pretty significant wave control, however. I'm curious if he's ever going to have push priority on the Urgot, or if Bwipo is going to keep him whittled down and poked away that he doesn't just get to freely use his passive on the wave.
Okay, so let's have a quick look at exactly the state of some of these lanes, because I already see Rekkles building up a bit of a CS advantage down towards the bottom side. We talked about the push potential coming out from the Xayah account. Now, there is a big wave here for Dzhelal that he can pick up, but even if he gets all of those, I think he's going to be about 4 or 5 CS down. Maybe a sign of good things to come for Fnatic. Bwipo trading onto Expect. Dodges away with the Epscon. That's the power of the E. You get the shield as well. Bwipo continuing to trade here. Expect quite low on mana, but has those corrupting potion stacks going. He's already burnt through all of his, though, and Bwipo has 2 in the tank, now 1. And so Expect, you think, will be more healthy at the Bwipo will be more healthy at the end of this trade.
The nice thing about Expect is that with the Grasp and with Sylas's kit, his ability to get a lot of health back, especially as he goes lower, means that if Urgot ever tries to find an all-in and look for the execute, it's actually really easy for Sylas to get back above that under 40%, so he can deny the execute. And I think that's what Expect is really looking for in these elongated matchups across from Urgot.
So a tiny micro thing here. Bwipo and Expect were trading in a quite a big wave from the Fnatic side, and Bwipo missed a lot of CS because he was going for the trade. You can see, although Bwipo now has the push, he's actually behind in terms of farm, and if Expect wants to back and teleport in with those corrupting potion stacks back on, he could actually do that. So there's actually a slight gold lead for Expect, even though he's the one that's getting pushed in.
It's just a matter of, can this champion actually be something post the lane phase? Because we heard Odo earlier on that he felt that Sylas really fell down when it came to the big team fights. Now, he does have a lot of ultimates to choose from. I think Urgot ultimate is actually pretty sick on Sylas, as well as the Syndra ultimate. You want to talk about that stat check?
See, I really want the Syndra ultimate to work, but I don't know if you steal her balls.
Does it take her balls?
That's the question. If it takes her balls, that's absolutely incredible. That is amazing, but I don't think it's going to. I think it would only take balls if they're on your side.
I think it's really fun against LeBlanc because it's the last ability used, but it gets super confusing in team fights.
Yeah, it's just, oh wow, that would be amazing. But sadly, we won't see that this game, of course, because Exile is on the same side as Expect on the Exile side of the map.
And talking about just really frustrating matchups, Syndra into LeBlanc, it can be really hard to land those Syndra Qs for a lot of her whittling damage, especially if LeBlanc's flying around the lane, so using distortion to trade rather aggressively and then dodge out on Syndra's damage.
When we talked about agency for Broxah, he gets his patentedly sin and is looking down towards this bottom side. Rekkles and Hylissang push back a little bit. Jessica's going to face check. He did this last week as well, trying to get away now. Q misses. Kasing will get knocked up, and Broxah's on the chase. Concussive blows. Not going to do too much. Kasing puts up the unbreakable ignite, flashed away from, and Kasing escapes. Good escape from Exile, but I've seen Jessica do this before, face-checking into a bush and finding the enemy jungler waiting.
And that's frankly just a team issue that they're not communicating where the jungler would be. Should be noted that it's an ignite trade for a flash trade, so an easy repeat gank for Broxah. And again, it's all about Hyli and Rekkles.
Expect trying to heal up a little bit here, but Bwipo with the shield from the W, of course. Very easy position for him to be in. Interesting to see him go for the cull early on from that first back. Just realizes he's probably not going to have kill pressure in the lane, just wants to farm it.
It's also about the fact that he can get so much lifesteal back because of how the Cole can work on the purge from Urgot and those shotgun knees, although hold on.
Okay, we'll call it out a little bit here, puts the chains down, we'll pull Broxah back, but Broxah happy enough just to get his own jungle. Expect trading onto Bwipo.
Oh, there's that sick
Stolen
heal.
the ultimate away. Bwipo doesn't even have his own ultimate, and Expect has it now.
So,
just lording it over him. It's like when someone gets your nose as a child, it's like, I've got your nose, I've got your nose. It's like, no, you haven't. I've got your ultimate, I've got your ultimate.
the stop hitting yourself.
Broxah finds Exile here. Level 6 to level 5 though, so Broxah doesn't have the Dragon's Rage. Kick just forces Exile away. He'll have to back. Caedrel actually coming up towards the wave here just to keep that safe in the mid lane if needed.
A lot of really unfortunate face checks from 2 Exile members, but I want to talk again about the Cole. The fact that you have the Cole into a very early grasp, again, Expect is just able to sustain forever in this lane because of Sylas's kit with the Grasp of the Undying as well as Revitalize. By having Cole, Urgot gets to do the same thing. The amount of lifesteal that you get back of it back off of it because it can proc on each one of your shotgun knees is actually really high. So he should be able to just self-sustain up.
Still pretty even between these two teams. A big CS lead for expecting that top lane, about 10 farm or so. He's gone back. He's going for the Sapphire Crystal, and the Cloth Armor. So options are Iceborne Gauntlet. You're going Glacial Shroud, right? So you can go Iceborne Gauntlet or Frozen Heart. Don't really see Frozen Heart at all anymore. Could go for the Zeke's Convergence, but I sincerely doubt it. So I think he's going for Iceborne Gauntlet.
Probably a safe bet.
Yeah. Usually we see more just straight AP from Sylas's though. Like I've seen Ludens, I've seen Morellos, I've seen Protobelts.
I mean, again, when I've seen Sylas be really effective, it's when they went full tank Sylas.
Okay.
And they just used their overstacked utility in their kit. But hold on, we have a bit of a roam.
Exile coming down towards the bottom side. He pushes out mid. Can just roam down here. He's about 10 farm down, but it's not the end of the world for him in that middle lane. Very even early game here. And we lauded so much about how these junglers are strong in the early game, how they want to do a huge amount, but we haven't really seen that yet. Broxah's still only level 5 though.
And that's the big thing, you know, coming on to 8 minutes in the game to not have access to that level 6, I'm certain that once he finishes this red camp, that'll have it available to him. And that's the big power window for Fnatic in this early game. Again, having access to the Dragon Rage kick and the Syndra ultimate. It's now, what does Broxah do with Nemesis to start moving into Exile's jungle and taking whatever they want? I really want them to challenge this blue buff.
Well, it looks to be what they're doing. I think Exile might realize it's happening because Dzhelal and Hylissang just came across to place a ward down.
Broxah seems really indecisive here. I'm imagining that something's happening in the comms, and maybe they're trying to track the vision, but with Hilly and Rekkles having full push priority down here, with the blue buff spawn from Exile, and then having 2 ultimates, and now seeing Caedrel top, they need to take this.
Bwipo pulled back, has the flash, jumped in with the abscond, expect not going to flash the wall. Didn't want to go all in on that play. Bwipo will clear out this ward. Broxah actually coming up, and this, you lose pressure on the blue buff, right? Because Broxah's had to come up here to try and defend.
And it's not just the blue buff, it's also access to the Infernal. It's still relatively early on in the game, only 9 minutes, so Fnatic are probably saying, we'll trade over the blue buff once Nemesis has this. You know, we're already winning bot lane. It's just something for us to pick up later on, but it still seems not as crisp or as clean in terms of the decisive decision-making around the map.
There's something I want to highlight just from Exile in general is that their laning phase has probably been the weakest phase of their game. Right? On average, they are behind in CSD, so creep score differential at the 15-minute mark, and we're seeing a little bit of that here as Exile is behind and Jessica's behind as well, but we're not going to be able to talk about that too much more as Caedrel went in, got Dragon Rage kicked away. And I want to see how Exile keep the gold even in this mid game and then make fights happen. Hylissang going in with the invade. Lots of damage going out to Nemesis. That's first blood. Charm lands onto Exile as well. He's trying to jump away, uses the flash. Hylissang lands a good Winter's Bite from the side, but just a little bit overextension from Exile.
In fact, Fnatic just need to recognize that they already won. They don't need to chase and trade back here. And now that you have priority, complete control of the river, what do you want to get in exchange? Is it just the first blood kill gold, which thankfully went into Syndra's pocket? So devastating of a champion to have that, because if she's ever ahead and has 100-0 kill pressure on you, that's just the exact pocket that she wants to sit in.
And that must be pretty heartening for the Fnatic players.
So while Fnatic are able to turn this around quite effectively, this is still some of the growing pains that you're seeing from this iteration of Fnatic. There's nowhere else for Caedrel to be. You know that his jungle camp's up, and you haven't rotated quick enough. And so the fact that Broxah actually gets chunked out very early on and isn't aware where Aatrox is, he should have been tracking that. Now, it is a good collapse from Hilly and Rekkles to turn it back around. Again, this is the power of the Syndra, the Lee Sin, having the priority in the bot lane that they're able to clean it up. But that could have been really bad, and Broxah just didn't seem to be on the exact same page with Fnatic. There's still growing pains and gaps here.
And the question is, can they survive through those growing pains? Can they take wins against sort of the lower tier teams while they are still trying to develop, and then when they get to playoffs, maybe they'll be a much more fully rounded, a much more fully fledged team as a whole. You have a 20 CS lead in the bottom lane, you have a 10-15 in the mid as well. That top lane differential has evened out as Bwipo has been able to find just a little bit more CS for himself. And now Fnatic are going to start up the Infernal Drake. They have the push in that bottom lane. They've got total vision control of the river. It should be an easy enough secure. And
the big thing is that Syndra's ultimate just came back up. It was on cooldown, it just has now ticked, and now that they have that big power, they're going to go for it.
Teleport coming out here from Exile, you can't cancel that anymore, and Fnatic can just jump across the wall. That's an easy enough escape. Rekkles had to use a flash, but then Broxah followed up with a W, and Hylissang, went in with his battle dance.
And the huge thing is the fact that Silas used the teleport down here while there's a massive wave that's pushing onto his tower. So Bwipo feeling pretty good about that one and denying Expect a lot.
Yeah, definitely very happy to do that. After Expect had pinned him back in the early game, he's now pretty even. And Expect actually going towards the Ninja Tabi, so much more that tank Silas build that we may have expected. Expect getting back in time for the cannons, actually. Oh! Yeah, that's not fun.
Yeah.
Missed the cannon.
Didn't get the cannon, and he also lost a plate, so Bwipo starting to snowball ahead here.
All right, let's just have a quick look at the gold in that top lane, because before it was about even, Bwipo is now 500 gold ahead or so, which is a very strong position for him to be in, and not one you'd really expect considering he hasn't got Kleptomancy. He's about even in terms of CS, but it just shows how much turret plating can do for you.
And Bwipo's stats really haven't shown a lot of strength that we expect of him. Let's hold on. Speaking of Expect.
Yeah, Bwipo pops the Ghost. Expect looking for the chase potential here. Steals away the ultimate. Exile gets jumped on in the mid lane by Broxah. Great Sonic Wave from him. Lands straight onto Exile. That's an easy enough kill. Good stuff from Fnatic. And Bwipo actually managed to escape in the top lane as well.
Every pro player, how do you beat LeBlanc? Just CC her.
Yeah.
Walks into the CC and then pops like a balloon.
And have Syndrome. Press your R on the enemy person, and they will die now. A little bit of damage going down onto Rekkles and Jessica in the bottom lane, but really just trading here. Fnatic don't need kills anymore. They just want to get these towers down, and then they can open up the map.
And they have the opportunity, but there's no onus on Fnatic to really push this early game ahead and open themselves up to mistakes, because they still have so much scaling potential, and their composition really still thrives in these grouped up fights. So we take another look at this. Unfortunate timing on the distortion and eats the Scatter of the Weak, gets stunned up, and then it's just a very easy setup for Broxah to find the Sonic Wave and then the execute.
And good stuff from Nemesis to clear out the wave there as well. Hits the orb onto it and then chucks out the Scatter of the Weak. Clears the wave, means that Broxah, as you say, can just hit that Q. But like, I think if you're a Fnatic fan right now, you should be pretty happy. This is looking much more like the Fnatic role, not Camp's Fnatic. You don't have this explosive mid laner absolutely destroying everyone. But you are ahead by about 2,000 gold at the 13-minute mark, coming up towards that sort of mid-game where you see Xayah start to come online after she gets 1-2 items. You see Lee Sin having an impact in the early game as well, and it's a very positive moment for Fnatic.
And now Fnatic should be trying to break open these turret platings because it's Ocean Drake that's spawning next. The Rift Herald is much higher priority, so you see Bwipo rotating down into the bot side. They should throw everything in the kitchen sink, force this tower, maybe get a couple of kills, and start rotating their numbers advantage back to top side for Herald.
Oh, Caedrel caught out here by Nemesis. Sonic Wave doesn't quite connect. Caedrel pops the World Ender. Exile on the flank. Can they do something about this? Exile decide they don't want to take the fight yet. Expect not there.
And this is Fnatic recognizing that they have the numbers advantage since they pulled the trigger early on rotating Bwipo. Silas doesn't have access to teleport. They know that he's topside, so that's what's giving them the confidence to just roll over Excel's bot lane.
And once again, that early Silas pick not really paying dividends for Exile. Odoamne said after the 15-minute mark, he isn't really a champion anymore, where we're about to crest that point, and Exile will definitely want him to be a bit of a champion for the rest of the game. He's gone towards the Sheen. Expect that to be the Iceborne Gauntlet. Could, of course, be a Triforce. Or a Lich Bane if he really wants to, but I've just given you all the different build paths, and I think we all know which one he's going to go.
We'll just buckle up, Medic, and we'll see where he takes us.
Just enjoy the ride with Expect. You just got to believe. Caedrel steals away the blue buff. Quickness came in from Hylissang, but the flash was used from Caedrel, so he did escape for the moment, but you have to think that Fnatic now rotating their bot lane up towards this top side just continues to keep that pressure down. Yes, there aren't plates for them to take. There are still towers on the map. There's still free gold standing there for them. Exile jumps in onto Nemesis, gets a lot of damage down with the Ethereal Chains, but Broxah here on the chase as well as Hylissang comes in from the side. Broxah, flash kick! Exile flashes away, uses the double distortion. Hylissang, of course, doesn't have the ultimate to chase.
But they do have the minion wave and now free time with this tower as Urgot's also rotating around behind it, so damage already done. They didn't get the kill, but they got exactly what they came for, which means that if Fnatic do get this Rift Herald, they don't have to waste it on the mid tower. This could actually break the game open massively for Fnatic.
Yeah, breaking that second tier of turrets is so much more impactful than just using the Rift Herald on the mid tower. They'll look to secure it now. You can see Caedrel on his way down. That Rift Herald isn't that low yet, but Hylissang and Jessica have to worry about the fact that Nemesis is just going to get knocked up over the wall, and the chase is on. Fear Beyond Death will not connect, but there's a lot of damage down as Hylissang. Jessica jumping around. Great stuff from him to escape. Hylissang gets away as well, but the Red Smite says not today. Fnatic didn't want the Rift Herald, they just wanted the kill.
Yeah, from bad to worse, and it's just the adaptation of recognizing that Exile were out of position, that Fnatic could continue to take whatever they want. That's now all of the outer towers down, which means, again, if this Rift Herald does fall to Fnatic, which they have full map control, you automatically get to use it on an inner turret.
And once again, we see a Sylas in the side lane, not really doing a huge amount. He's got a bit of a CS lead now. He's starting to chip away at the towers. Exile trying to do what they can on the other side of the map, but the teleport's going to come out here from Bwipo, and he'll be able to push Exile back. 17 minutes in, that's about a 5,000, 5 and a bit thousand gold lead for Fnatic. Probably the biggest gold lead we have seen them have in a long, long time.
And the thing is again, it's the recognizing that Exile were out of position. Broxah was already on the Rift Herald. He's like, this bot lane didn't realize that we're rotating up. So, bit of a huge fumble for cross-map communication from Exile to not warn their bot lane that all of Fnatic was on that side of the map.
Definitely is. The Ocean Drake, this second dragon secured here from Fnatic. They'll have a fiery boy and a watery boy in their back pockets. Caedrel, Grump was almost stolen there by a Gleaming Quill. As a support main, that's what I live for, those moments. Stealing something away with your Q that does like 54 damage. I
feel like MVP was actually that ward in the river that showed Caedrel that Rakan was about to come around that corner and throw a Q.
So looking at next steps here, Frost. We talked about it in Pick and Ban. We said we wanted to see Broxah with agency. We wanted to see Nemesis and Broxah team up. They have done that. That is exactly what Fnatic have done. We want to see the Xayah and Rakan pick paying off, and it seems to be so far. But where do Fnatic go from here? You've already broken that first tier of towers. What's next?
Now you pick up Rekkles as kind of like your big cannon, and between the Rakan and the Lee Sin and the Syndra, you move around with your Xayah because it's really hard to jump in and try to find any sort of assassination potential on Rekkles. Jumping into a Scatter the Weak, if anyone gets too close, if Broxah doesn't want to use Dragon Rage Kick aggressively, he can just use it defensively, kick them out from Rekkles, and you just have this Xayah walk through people. Interesting that they gave that to Hilly.
They tend to do this, if I recall correctly. I remember seeing them do it quite a lot in summer of last year, just wanting him to be the one to keep it on himself, because the Lee Sin, of course, has the ward, so needs to jump around. It's
not just the Lee Sin ward jump, it's also nice because it gives you the empowered recall, and it's cool on the support because then you can constantly be refreshing your vision.
And also, if you have a Xayah, you get double quick recall. Dun, 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 dun.
Broken.
Just they breaking the game time and time again. Now, I do want to have a look at Exile, because this early game has been a bit of a struggle for them, and we talk about it so often as Caedrel is the key man for this team, and usually he's having an incredible amount of effects. He's almost at 3 kills and assists at the 15-minute mark, is involved in every single kill his team has a gold lead for the team as well, even when Exile actually tend to be behind at the 15-minute mark. But this game, he just doesn't seem to have had the agency, doesn't seem to have had the impact that usually we'd see from him.
I mean, where is he supposed to attack in his lanes? It's Xayah Rakan versus Kai'Sa Braum. That's always going to be dangerous unless you know exactly where Broxah is. His mid laner died early on because she distortioned into a Scout of the Week, so mid lane becomes incredibly hard to punish.
A little bit of a punish on the top side. I expect that she stole the Syndra ultimate. Put some balls down, Nemesis. I want to see the interaction.
Just so he can walk up and press R?
Yeah, I just want to see it. I don't really care if Expect gets the kill. I don't care if they waste the ultimate. I just want to see how the interaction works.
I feel like that's always going to be the case with Sylas. I feel like every time I see him, I clench because I'm like, oh, spaghetti code, please.
What's going to happen? Oh, could you realm warp into someone else's realm warp?
I don't know.
That would be so cool. Oh, League of Legends, guys. It's a thing. Okay, so Fnatic now pushing in the bottom lane. Should be an easy enough tower secure for them. They have the Demolish on Bwipo, and they will just take it down. And this is all Fnatic need to do. Like, we're getting this point now where League of Legends by the numbers is what the teams do in the mid game, right? They say, okay, we have a lead, we're about 5,000–6,000 gold ahead. All we have to do is rotate better and take out towers and set up vision properly.
But Exile have recognized what they need to do, and it's they need to split up Fnatic. They can't fight them on fair footing, so they're trying to shoot Exile into opposite sides of the map. The problem is that they still had access to Rift Herald.
Whoa.
They're still grouped up, they've still got the creep wave, and no one can stop them. There's not enough good wave clear on Exile to slow down Fnatic.
This inhibitors are going to be opened up in 20 minutes. It's great stuff for Fnatic. Expect steals away the fear beyond death, but Fnatic don't even really need to do too much more. They can look to push forward. They don't want it for the moment. Don't need the inhibitor. They have a 5,000 gold lead. Baron is on the cards. They set up vision around that pretty easily if they want. Just need to reset for the moment.
And the Dragon RNG spawn is definitely not in Excel's favor. Fnatic reset, know that the Infernal is coming up in a minute. You have a massive gold lead. You have massive item leads. You should just be able to rock up and take this one for free. And if it's XL challenge, it's definitely Baron. I think they just have to give this one away for free. And it's so devastating that when you look at an Infernal, you're like, I can't go anywhere near that. Here's your, what? What's the percentage?
It's extra 7% because they've already got one. So they go up to 17% AD and AP, I believe.
Good luck.
Yeah, it's pretty darn devastating. Now, if you're looking at Exile, though, I'm trying to find signs of hope. You have Sylas. Maybe Fnatic don't know what he does. Maybe they've forgotten his abilities.
I don't think Sylas is the savior here.
Okay, so who is the savior?
I think it has to be this LeBlanc.
Okay.
Where she's going to make these saving plays, it has to be around picks, maybe catching someone out of position.
Here we go. Jumps away. Rekkles just going to be able to get away for the time being, and Fnatic. The thing with Hylissang is on Rakan, you're so safe all the time. Because even if you get caught out, you battle dance to the Xayah, and it's literally about the width of that lane that you can jump. And then you have your W as well, and you have a second battle dance. So it's actually very easy for Rakan to get out of trouble. It's the same reason he's such a good initiator as well, because you can get so far into the backline.
Okay, so time has come, Exile. You just have to give up. You can't contest for this dragon, but what can you do while the dragon is being taken? Now, what they should be doing is they should be walking over and trying to lay down vision around the Baron. And you can actually see that's what Kissing wants to do. He wants to clear out his own jungle, make sure that all of the aggressive wards from Fnatic are out of here, and then he wants to get some wards onto the Baron, because right now Exile are hoping for the Hail Mary. Yeah. They want Fnatic to fumble a Baron and for them to get their foot back in this game.
I mean, they don't really have a huge amount of tanks on the Fnatic lineup. Like, you're looking Black Cleaver, Broxah.
But the thing is Fnatic don't have to have the Baron to close out the game. Because they have a long-range AD carry like Xayah, and then they have the protection of Syndra with Scatter the Weak, they can actually continue to siege if they don't want to take a possibility at a Baron play.
It's an interesting little dance that Jessica was gracing us with there. It's not one I've seen too often. I expect continues to go down the tanky route. You've got the double items on Rekkles that we talked about, Rapid Fire Cannon into Stormrazor, Banshee's Veil as well on Nemesis, so just trying to keep Exile from nuking him on the LeBlanc. But we have seen LeBlancs do it in the past. Fnatic will now push up, get the vision up towards this top side. It's the only tower left outside of the base of Exile, so that should be Fnatic's next objective.
Yeah, and again, it's about then pushing in the triangle vision. Hilly really wants to move in and clear out these wards. He does need to pay a little bit respect, though. They don't have information about where everyone on Expect is. He could walk into a trap. So I like the fact that he is waiting for Broxah.
I want to ask a question, Fosk, and I'm going to do it because I want to. Who scales better?
I mean, there's scaling options for both sides. It's going to come down to execution, and I would still say that Fnatic are better team fighters than what I've seen from Exile.
If we get to 4 items apiece, who scales? Oh my god! Exile's dead. Rekkles flashes forward for it. Exile actually almost gets away, but Rekkles gets the kill. That was great reactions from Hylissang. Expect actually stole the quickness as well and just used it to run away. So that's his ultimate down. And Fnatic's execution definitely coming out on top here. Fear Beyond Death used by Bwipo, but couldn't quite find the connection.
I mean, scaling doesn't matter at this point in the game when there's a massive gold lead closing on 10k in favor of Fnatic. So, I mean, if the LeBlanc jumps in on Rekkles and just gets absolutely blasted by the Xayah Rakan duo, you don't have a lot of hope left.
It felt a lot more like seeing Hylissang of old there. The reactions were absolutely on point now. Exile, last week you stole a Baron against Misfits. Can you do it again? It's on Expect, hasn't got the answer to spellbook this time. Caedrel can get into the pit, of course, dashing across the wall. 3,000 HP left on the Baron, 2,000 now. Fnatic waiting to secure it. They have the Lee Sin Sonic Wave kick.
Yeah, Broxah just needs to go over this wall, kick him away, and then smite.
Caedrel kicked away, he smites it.
That's how you do it, Broxah.
Fosk, have you got a monitor 5 seconds ahead or something? Because you predicted that perfectly.
To be fair, there actually is one, but I never look at it.
It's not 5 seconds ahead anymore. It's only 5 seconds ahead at the start of the game.
Perfect.
Yeah.
I thought you were taking the piss.
No, I was trying to compliment you.
Oh, thanks. I like your hair today, Medic.
Thanks, Fosk. I like your casting partner. Let's have a look at the replay.
Surprise, Hilly's on a control ward. You didn't see him. I like this bait.
Yeah.
You know, Rekkles is like, I love eating up creeps. I love looking delicious. I'm high in fiber. Come get me, Exile.
And just a poultry matter to clean it up there from Rekkles. And then Fnatic started the Baron, of course. Now, they can go for the 1-4 split. You see that so often with an Urgot. They can also just barrel it down as 5 players. You know, they don't actually need to split this up too much. But I think going and splitting 2 lanes makes a little bit more sense against Exile.
And again, the sieging potential of Fnatic's composition is really strong. This has been just such a crisp and clean game from Fnatic. Again, I feel like they fumbled maybe a little bit some of their early game, not being as proactive as I would have liked them to do, but otherwise a much better look from Fnatic this time around.
Already opened up that inhibitor tower in the bottom lane. Bwipo on the front line. Takes up a little bit of damage, but he's just going to purge and get that shield up. There's the inhibitor down. Exile. Oh, I thought he was going to fall there. Nemesis does have the ultimate, still holding on to it. Expected stolen away the Dragon's Rage kick as well. Second inhibitor the target for Fnatic, and Exile really can't do too much about this. They'll give it up. The ghosts of their base just screaming in agony around them.
Clean fundamentals. It's crossing your T's, dotting your I's. Fnatic now rotating to the last outer standing tower.
Do you know what the dot on an I is called?
No.
It's a tittle.
It's a funny word.
It's a funny word. It is the word for the dot on I, though. And that's what Fnatic are doing, as you say. Just rotate up towards top, still have Baron for a minute and a half. Exile trying to do something about their wave, but it's so hard to clear away when it's Baroned up.
And it's just really high risk, really low reward for Exile to take any sort of team fight here. They just want to clear the wave safely and try to survive to fight another day, but if they take a single bad fight, the game is over. So they're just going to siege, try to stall out the Baron, and Fnatic can just push forward.
I think a really good sign for Fnatic is how patient they were with that play. They had a cannon wave coming in, but they didn't want to go for it. Caedrel, though, trying to get onto the backline. Worldender comes out as well. And that's a lot of damage on towards the Aatrox. Fabian death doesn't connect, but Exile went for the engage to get nothing out of it. Fnatic still basically full HP. Bwipo just tanking up the chains. That's the third inhibitor tower down. Super minions pushing in the side lanes as well, and Fnatic are looking for their second win of the split. This has been a tumultuous LEC spring split for them, but now much cleaner, much stronger. Fnatic seem to be back in action and coming back fighting against Exile.
And this question you know, is this dominant victory over Exile enough for Fnatic fans to get excited about this team, enough for us to forgive them of their previous sins in earlier weeks, because they looked pretty hot today.
They definitely did. Broxah gets the kick away. Just trying to get the final fights off. The Nexus goes down. Fnatic with their second win as they fell Exile here in week 4. And I'm not excited yet, Bosk, but I'm definitely less worried than I was at the start of the game.
Just get the wins on the board at this point. It wasn't the win in the same way that we've seen G2, Misfits just absolutely take over early game. Schalke, you know, they're commanding victories through their team fighting, but it got them on the board, it's climbing up the standings, and all we want from Fnatic right now is life.